Hi. If you could open up your Bible, I will ask you to turn to the book of Numbers and to chapter 33. It's probably first time we've read from Numbers, so let's have some fun. Right. Now, in my Bible, it is called Journeys of Israel. So this is telling you every city that they stopped in on their 40-year journey. So these were a people of slaves. Now listen to what it says about the slaves. These are the journeys of the children of Israel, which set forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. These slaves, as soon as they were freed by their leader, they formed into an army. Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord, and these are their journeys according to their goings out. And they started from the city of Ramesses. Right? Cities of Ramesses is the Battle of Kadesh, right? So they start in Kadesh, right? In the first month. How do you prove the Bible is real? The battle of the city of Ramesses, the Hittites versus the Egyptians and their slaves, the Israelites. Battle at the city of Ramesses is called today Battle of Kadesh. That's all you need to prove the Bible real. If somebody doesn't understand that, then you're talking to someone that's not worth talking to. If they're going to argue about Jesus and don't understand where the people of this so-called Jesus come from, and the feats that they did, it's not worth talking to about them. They departed on Ramesses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow, in the morning, after the Passover. Remember, this has to deal with the Passover. Children of Israel went out with an high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians. Peace out! Okay. For the Egyptians buried all their firstborn, which the Lord had smitten among them. Upon their gods also the Lord executed judgments. And the children of Israel removed themselves from Ramesses and pitched in Succoth. And as you see, they go city by city. Etham at the edge of the wilderness, from Succoth to Etham. They went from Etham to Pi-hahiroth, which is before Baal Zephon. Okay? And they pitched before Migdal. And they departed from Pith-hahiroth. Now Migdal is in Pi-hahiroth. And they passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness. So they just went, that's how fast they crossed water. You understand that? In verse 8, they passed through the midst of the sea. If I walk in the midst of something, that's in the middle of it, right? They passed through. It doesn't say they walked, it says they passed. They could have been on boats, it could have been shallow. The water could have froze. Whatever sea they took, they passed through the midst of it into the wilderness, and went 3 days' journey into the wilderness of Etham, and pitched in Marah. Now, I'm going to show you right now. Etham is the first that's brought up. Is third. Ramses they left to suck off to Etham. So they're still in the country of Etham. So when they say Etham, that's a country. They pitched in Etham, which is at the edge of the wilderness, and went from Etham to Pitharoth and pitched in Migdal. So Migdal is in Pitharoth, like we just stated, and then they're at the other end of Etham. Now get it. It's like this. You got Etham here. Here's Etham. In the center of Etham, you would have Pi-hahiroth, and then they get through Pi-hahiroth, and then they're at the other edge of Etham. You see how that works? So at this other edge of Etham, there might be a lake or something like that, or a sea. And they go through this sea. You know, like the Black Sea is surrounded by land, it's not part of the ocean. Alright, so they removed from Marah, excuse me. I don't know why I added an H to that. To Elim, and from Elim were 12 fountains of water, and 70 palm trees, and they pitched there. So they found 12 fountains, and I believe that means 70 palm trees. So at this point, they went from, now Ramesses is what, sand? It's a sand city. So they've traversed for a while, and then they end up somewhere with 12 fountains of water and 10 palm trees. They leave there and encamped by the Red Sea. They removed from the Red Sea and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. Now, we know Sin is China. Are the Chinese in China at this point in history? Now, that's a question we need these other cities to find out. If the wilderness of Sin is connected or by Dofka, and we can find Dofka, and it says Dofka is in Asia, then the wilderness of Sin is in Asia. So when they pass over this sea, it's over near Asia. If we can find that evidence. So I'm going to scroll down. I want to show you this. Now they go to Rephidim, and there's no water for the people to drink. They depart Rephidim, and they pitched in the wilderness of Sinai. Now we're all familiar with the Sinai desert. And when they leave the Sinai, they go to Kibroth Hattava. Now, with that hat and that double T, I'm going to say that's a Hittite city. Kibroth Hattava. And they departed Kibroth Hattava and encamped in Hezroth. Departed Hezroth to Rithmah. Rithmah to Rimmah Perez. Rimmah Perez to Libnah. And they kept going through all these cities. Now we're going to scroll down. Now, they're no longer in the wilderness of Sin. They're now in the wilderness of Zin. with a Z, which is Kadesh. Now, see, this should be confusing to you. If Kadesh is the city of Ramses, then how did they end up right back where they started? Right? So this is a city that's been conquested by the Egyptians, and it's then named Kadesh. Or it's obviously another city of Ramses, but now, this is important, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get to this pretty soon. Just not today. They were moved from Kadesh and pitched in Mount Hor, in the edge of the land of Edom. So they're entering Edom right now. Here's Kadesh over here, and here's Edom over here, and they're right at the edge of Edom. In the edge. So here's the line, they're right here, they're in Edom. In the edge of the land of Edom, in the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor at the commandment of the Lord, and he died. In the 40th year. So he made the journey. In the 40th year, after the children of Israel come out of the land of Egypt, in the first day of the 5th month. So that's like mid-year for us. No. Third month comes around, and then that's the equinox. So that's the first month. So in the end of March is the actual new year. So he died in the 5th month. So that's right before April. So August is 8, right? So he died in first day of the 9th month. So he died at the end of August, right before September. All right. Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. In Mount Hor, it says he went up into Mount Hor. All right, maybe because of the translations we shouldn't focus so much on the ins and outs, but it does say they camped inside the border, in the edge of the land. So they are in Edom. Mount Hor is in Edom. So it's important for in and out there. It says he goes up into the mountain. He died in the mount. And listen. And King Arad, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south of the land of Canaan, heard the coming of the children of Israel. Alright, so that's all you're going to hear about that guy. At this point, Aaron dies, and he hears the coming of the children of Israel. So they pack up, they leave Mount Hor where Aaron dies, and they keep going. Now, in my Bible, this is where it gets crazy. We're going to skip down to 44. We're going to highlight this. And they departed from Oboth and pitched, they set up their camp in Isaiah abarim. Abba. Now, even though it don't have two B's, you know that means father. Abarim. And you know your father is Abraham, and he tried to sacrifice a ram, and then God was like, wait, don't do that. One of my wicked angels tried to trick you. Okay, so they pitched in Abarim, in the border of Moab. So when I go to my Bible and I say, dear Bible, please communicate with me, what is Abarim? Now, here it says in 44, and they departed from Oboth and pitched in abarim. So in 44, I go to the precepts 33 and 44, and it gives me chapter 21 and 11. It gives me chapter 21 and 11. Again, gives it to me twice. And it says, or heaps of abarim. Heaps of abarim. Okay, so at that point, I have to say, hey, what is Heaps of abarim? So as I go and try to look for stuff, Heaps of abarim comes up. So it goes abarim in Bible. So it says the name abarim or abarim occurs twice in the Bible. In Numbers 21 and 11, we read how the Israelites traveled from Oboth to abarim in the wilderness opposite Moab to the east. From there they went to Wadi Zered. In Numbers 33 and 44, the same thing occurs, except that the people arrive at abarim, but set out from Aim or Aim and proceed to Dibon God, whatever. It appears that Aim is a short form of abarim. Alright. Etymology of the name abarim. Alright, so it consists of two elements. The first one is okay, this part, this is wasted. Let's just scroll down. All this writing and shit for nothing. For the meaning of the name abarim, the study Bible name list reads ruins of abarim, region beyond. Jones Dictionary of Old Testament Proper Names has for abarim ruinous heaps of abarim. Alright, so Theological Dictionary does not offer an interpretation of this name and list it alphabetically and not under any particular root. If we take the noun to mean ruin, it would read something, and they camped at the ruins of crossing over at the border of Moab, and they departed from the ruins. And so they're saying, with the translation, it should say they camped at the ruins of the crossing over at the border of Moab. So there's ruins that you cross over at the border of Moab, and they crossed over these ruins and they wrote about it. Alright, so when I type in heaps of abarim, I get really confused because this place called Heaps Canyon in Zion National Park keeps coming up. Now I'm looking for a place called Heaps or ruins of abarim. Now don't get me wrong, Mount Abarim is in Utah, and it's right there outside of Moab National Park. I'm sorry, Moab's the desert, but Zion Park in the middle of nowhere. They put a park in the desert and they named it Zion. So it turns out Mount Abarim goes like this, goes up some places, goes down the other. This is what all mountains do. They work like a wave, and every time they reach a peak point, it's called a mountain range today, but in the past it was just called a mountain, like a continuous mountain. Now it turns out these heaps, or Heaps Canyon in Zion Park, which is right by Mount Abarim, it turns out it's very funny looking, and this is why they call it heaps, because if you considered it's part of a mountain, it has these huge walkways in between. And from far off, these pieces of the mountain looks like heaps of rubble that belong to the Abarim mountain system. Are you starting to understand why it's called Heaps of Abarim? I'm going to scroll down to this other picture, and hopefully you'll get an idea of oh wait, there's no other picture there. That was the picture change? Let me see what else I got. Alright, so this is what Heaps looks like. So when you go to Heaps National Park, it's a bunch of mountains. See the little guy right there? That's them taking a picture up top. There's the little man right there. There at the top of the mountain, looking down at the camera, there's the little guy. Alright? So, when you're at these mountains, there is these big crevices between it, which it's, even though the mountain's continuous, all these spaces in between the mountains. When you're far away, it makes the mountains look like it heaps of rock, piles of rock. So let me get a piece of paper so I show you. So I'm gonna draw this backwards. Okay, so here's Mount Abarim. You got a continuous mountain line. Here's a peak on Mount Abarim. That's going to be Mount Nebo. Oh, I could do that better, right? Okay, so let's say, see this little dot right there? That's you. You're that big. You're looking at this mountain range, and it's called Mount Abarim. It's continuous, but the whole range is abarim. Right? Now right here, this little peak right here, that's called Mount Nebo. Now when you continue down Abarim, the mountain range, then remember, you're just the size of this little dot, okay? And then you see these small little mountains, right? And from far away, they look like columns or little piles of rubble. But when you get close up, to them, you can see you're this big and these things are tall. And above it, it looks like, you know, there's sections taken out. Now, I'm going to go back to the definition for a second. Now, because there's something important that's in the definition. It says, when it's used as a verb, awa means to bend or twist. It's used 17 times. David complained that he was bent over. So when he's bent over, he's complaining that his back is twisted. Alright. He says, minds get perverted. Excuse me one second. Alright. So it states here that minds get perverted. So perverted is the word that they're using for awa, which is twisted. It says paths get twisted. The word twisted would be awa. Right here it's spelled in English A-W-A. Here it's used as I-Y-E. Same sound. Alright, so masculine meaning iniquity or guilt, or the punishment of guilt. Now watch, when we go further down, says the second part of the name abarim means to pass over. So it's some form of guilt to pass over. The hugely important root word abar, that's not, never mind, yields words that have to do with transition, usually in the sense of transversing through. Another verb in transition which has connotation of skipping or passing over. Now, when you take that into consideration and you start to see these things up here, let's look at these. It's almost as if they're saying that the heaps of abarim are the heaps of abarim because they were caused to look like this by someone that passed through. Someone passed through this mountain, and as they passed through this mountain, it seems to have changed. And as it changed, someone named it, the section, heaps of abarim, or awa abarim. If you analyze this definition, it starts to tell you that this was caused by them passing over. are two verbs. Now, this definition has no idea where the heaps of abarim is. It doesn't know what the heaps of abarim looks like. They're just translating the word. Alright. So, you can look at this, read it if you want to, and you'll get the same understanding that I did. If you get a different understanding, well, then you just get a different understanding. And that's fair too. I mean, we all think differently. So, this video is showing you in Numbers chapter 33, when heaps of abarim, when they pitch in the border of Moab, it is a place called Heaps Canyon in Zion National Park, and this is why the government took this area over and named it Zion. Right in your face the whole time. You didn't even have to look that far. All you had to do was stop believing what your enemy told you. Your enemy wants you enslaved, and he told you your home's on the other side of the world. He told you many nations have ruled over your land, that it's not your land anymore. Your enemy does not want you to know your home has always been here. Your enemy named it Zion because your enemy needs you to complete your part of the prophecy before they can move forward. They need your part completed. And most of us don't know what our part is. We think we belong here when the Lord tells us to separate. He said, go and what? Preach, prophesy to the mountains of Israel. This land that we're looking at right now is in the land of Moab. And even though it's in the land of Moab, this is the land that the Lord gives us. Listen. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan near Jericho, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say to them, when ye are passed over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, destroy their molten images, and quite pluck down all their high places, destroy them, and ye shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land, and dwell therein. You will switch places with them, for I have given you the land to possess it. This is our land. And ye shall divide the land by lot for an inheritance among your families. These people have come and stolen our inheritance. And to the more ye shall give, the more inheritance. To the more ye shall give more inheritance. If there's a bunch of you, you get a lot of land. And to the few you shall give the less inheritance, because a few people don't need a lot of land. You shall take what ye need, because you have room to grow. Every man's inheritance shall be in a place where his lot falleth. So I am part of a people group. My lot cannot be part of someone else's tribe. I cannot be part of I cannot be part of Judah and go and live in Ephraim's lot. It says, according to the tribes of your fathers ye shall inherit. Now, here's the clause. But if ye will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that you shall be colonized. It shall come to pass that which ye let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes, and thorns in your sides. Now, and shall vex you in the land wherein you dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do unto them. Now I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to think about the condition you're in. I want you to know and understand why you're in your condition. This is a piece. This is not the whole. This is not the whole reason why we're in this condition. Our forefathers broke individual laws. We as a group broke many laws as well. We as a group called a different God the Creator. And we worshiped that other God as if he was the Creator, and we were broken because of that. That God ye still call on today. You call him Yahweh. That God is not the Creator. That God is not the God of Moses. I am that I am is the God of Moses. I am that I am and Yahweh are not the same entity. Stop letting people trick you. So, Moab Desert, where this act was done, is in Utah. The land that is given to us is to the east of Utah. Our inheritance was taken from us by strangers from the tribes of Japhet, just as the Bible says in Genesis 9. Please stop letting people lie to you. If you're watching this video and I show you our abarim in the border of Moab, when I show you it being translated, when I show you it translates to the word heaps of abarim, when I show you that heaps of abarim is Heaps Canyon in Zion National Park in Utah, when I show you all this and you don't understand, something's wrong with your mentality. I don't have the right to sit here and say God's with Sheila or God's with Doug and God's with Jerome, but God's not with this person and God's not with that person. I don't have the right to say that. Our heritage has been hidden from us. This took me 5 minutes to find. It took me 20 minutes to find a way to be able to put it in a format to educate someone, to show someone what's written here is shown right here. If you are not comprehending this stuff, then you better be really strong in prayer.